Dear strangers, today I have one creepy story to tell. Of course, this story is not real, but if you have any real horror stories, be sure to email me them at missanonymous669@gmail.com and I might just include your story in a future video. Obviously, I will give you credit just as long as you leave me a name to refer to you as. With that said, let's get started. This story is told in the eyes of a 28-year-old man who was visiting his 90-year-old grandma when the unexpected happened. I was at Granny's house. She was very quiet, after all she did have dementia. She was beginning to fall asleep, so I thought I would head to bed as well, as I did want to be wide awake for the journey home the next day. When I got into bed, I couldn't get to sleep straight away. I must have tossed and turned for at least an hour before I finally began to fall. When I finally got to sleep, I was awoke almost immediately to the buzzing of my phone. No caller ID, it read. I picked it up and stupidly answered. Hello, I slurred. There was no reply, just a few heavy breaths. I figured it was just a prank call or a wrong number and hung up. As I fell back to sleep, I kept hearing these weird noises coming from outside. I didn't look out of the window though. At 6 o'clock, I was awoke by a loud thud coming from outside. Just to be safe, I went to check on Granny before I looked outside. I walked into the living room and saw that Granny was not there. I checked the kitchen and even went back upstairs to see if she had snuck up. But no sign of her. Now I looked outside. This is what made my heart skip a beat. Outside, I saw that my car had been battered to the point that it looked abandoned. And beside that was Granny, holding a hammer. I locked the door in an instant and waited a few moments. What the hell? I kept thinking. I looked outside and now, Granny was even closer to the door. I didn't hesitate to call police. The next day, the police, who had investigated, sent me some CCTV footage. I watched a bit of it. For some reason, Granny had awoke suddenly and jumped out of her armchair. She then grabbed a random phone from this drawer and called some random number. The random number seemed familiar though, it was my number. I must have rewatched the footage a million times before I noticed a weird, glowing ball of light fly into Granny. That was before she jumped from her seat. I researched the meaning of all this and the number one answer was the paranormal and being possessed. Granny had been possessed. Well, that's it. If you did enjoy, make sure to like the video and why not subscribe while you're at it. Wink wink. Remember to send in your real horror stories at missanonymous669@gmail.com. I suppose I could use some fake ones if you would like to make one up. Thanks for watching. Miss